Welcome back to the Nomis Hunter, where we dive deep into the most unbelievable discoveries, shocking valuations, and jaw-dropping stories from the world of rare coins. And today's topic is one that has been creating massive waves of curiosity, excitement, and disbelief across collectors and treasure hunters everywhere, as we explore the extraordinary tale of a 1978 D-quarter that some believe could reach a staggering value of up to $94 million because of the rarest, most dramatic, most unexpected errors and striking anomalies that take this ordinary-looking piece of pocket change and transform it into something almost mythical, a true once-in-a-lifetime numismatic marvel. So settle in and get ready, because what you are about to hear will challenge everything you thought you knew about modern coinage and the hidden treasures that might be sitting unnoticed in your home, your old drawers, or the change you spent last week without even thinking. The fascination with the 1978 D-quarter begins with the fact that it comes from a time in United States minting history when technology was advancing but still had enough room for human influence, mechanical faults, and accidental production mishaps. And these minor or major faults could create coins that today stand out from millions of standard strikes, instantly drawing attention from collectors who know that the combination of rarity, mystery, historical context, and unrepeatable minting errors can send a coin's value into the stratosphere. Imagine a coin minted in Denver in 1978, a normal quarter by design, bearing the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse and the iconic eagle on the reverse. Yet something went wrong during its creation, something unusual, something that escaped quality inspection, something that meant this coin should never have reached the hands of the public. And that tiny mistake, or cluster of mistakes, is what transforms it into a numismatic legend. Now picture a scenario where the 1978 D-quarter you are holding has a double die obverse so dramatic that Washington's facial features appear double to the naked eye. The inscription seems shadowed, and the slightest tilt in the light reveals ghost-like impressions behind the main design, a kind of doubling so strong and clear that experts classify it as a major variety, potentially unique or extremely scarce. And the more dramatic the doubling, the higher the value climbs, because the error becomes unmistakable and historically significant. But it doesn't stop there, because some collectors speculate that a few 1978 D-quarters may have also been struck on the wrong planchet entirely, meaning instead of the standard copper nickel-clad quarter planchet, the coin could have been struck on leftover planchets meant for foreign coins, experimental composition tests, or perhaps even transitional metal tests. And coins struck on the wrong planchet always skyrocket in value, because they exist only by accident and survive only by miracle, slipping through a minting process that typically destroys anything out of spec. Add to that the intriguing possibility of off-center strikes where the design appears shifted dramatically to one side, leaving blank crescent-shaped metal on the other, or broad strike errors where the collar failed and allowed the metal to expand during striking, creating a flatter, wider coin that still maintains full details but visually looks different enough to command massive premiums from collectors who crave unique distortions in shape. There is also the rare chance of a die break or cud forming on the 1978 D-quarter, where cracks in the die create raised metal blobs or missing design sections on the coin, and these errors, depending on their size and visibility, can add thousands or even millions in perceived theoretical value when combined with other major errors, especially if the coin displays multiple unrelated minting mistakes at once, making it an error within an error, a layered anomaly that simply should not exist under normal production standards. And then comes the most exciting and almost mythical possibility: the idea that a single 1978 D-quarter might display a combination of multiple major error types in perfect harmony, such as a double die obverse, struck on a wrong planchet, with noticeable off-center alignment and a visible die crack across the reverse. forming a once-in-human-history error coin that captures the imagination of collectors and investors who are willing to push the price into astronomical territory because the coin becomes more than a piece of metal. It becomes a story, a miracle of minting chaos, a physical artifact representing a perfect storm of minting failure that can never be duplicated again. The reason such a coin could reach a fantastical valuation like $94 million in hypothetical markets is not because the metal is valuable or the date is rare in ordinary circulation, but because in the world of collecting, value is driven by demand, rarity, story, uniqueness, and emotional impact. And when a coin hits all these elements simultaneously, especially with dramatic visual errors that appeal to both beginner collectors and veteran experts, the price becomes a matter of how far someone is willing to go to own a piece of numismatic history that no one else on Earth has, something that collectors dream of but almost never find. The 1978 D quarter also carries an element of intrigue because the late 1970s were a time of transition, experimentation, and refinement at the United States Mint, meaning mistakes that occurred were not always properly recorded, documented, or understood, leaving room for speculation, mystery, and the possibility of undiscovered varieties lying in old collections, inherited jars, or dusty coin albums in attics. And it is this combination of known errors and potential undiscovered anomalies that fuels the fascination and sparks imaginations. So when someone imagines a 1978 D quarter worth $94 million, they're picturing the ultimate error coin, a piece that contains every possible rarity factor stacked together, the kind of coin that would dominate headlines, break auction records, crash bidding platforms, and become the most talked about discovery in modern numismatic history. And while such a coin remains hypothetical, the truth is that real error coins from this period do exist and can sell for significant sums. And everyday collectors find coins with double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die chips, and other mistakes that nobody noticed for decades, proving that valuable coins continue to circulate or sit unseen in private homes, waiting for someone with curiosity and attention to detail to recognize them. That's why the story of the 1978 D quarter valued at $94 million is not just about fantasy. It is about possibility, potential, and the reminder that hidden treasures are always out there, just waiting for someone like you to uncover them. And the thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors searching, learning, and exploring. And if you have a 1978 D quarter at home, examine it carefully, look for doubling, inspect the rims, check the alignment, weigh it, compare the sound, study the metal tone, analyze every detail you can. Because even if yours is not the one imagined at $94 million, it could still contain an important error, a valuable variety, or a rare anomaly that makes it worth far more than 25 cents. Thank you for joining the Numis Hunter and diving into this fascinating world of rare and extraordinary coins. And stay curious, stay watchful, and keep hunting because treasures are out there. Next, 1992p quarter dollar. Today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing what-if scenarios in modern coin history as we explore how a simple-looking 1992p quarter could hypothetically soar to a jaw-dropping value of $52 million. Not because of its normal design or metal composition, but because of the rarest, strangest, and most dramatic minting errors and production anomalies imaginable. The kind of bizarre mistakes that transform an everyday coin into a legendary treasure capable of turning an ordinary collector into a millionaire overnight. Now imagine holding a 1992p quarter in your hand, a coin that millions of Americans used without a second thought. Yet one specific piece could have slipped through the mint with such unique and catastrophic production flaws that it becomes unlike anything else produced in that year, instantly placing it among the rarest error coins in history. A mythical creation born from a perfect storm of minting chaos during a time when the Philadelphia Mint produced enormous volumes of coinage, leaving the door wide open for mechanical failures, planchet issues, die deterioration, and operational mishaps that sometimes produce coins that should never have seen the light of day. Think first about the possibility that this extraordinary 1992p quarter features a powerful double die obverse, a type of error where the working die misaligns during hubbing, creating doubled inscriptions, doubled facial details, doubled letters, or even ghost-like shadows behind Washington's profile. And the stronger and more visible the doubling, the higher the value skyrockets. Because collectors crave dramatic doubling that is instantly recognizable without magnification, the type of doubling that makes your heart skip a beat the moment you tilt the coin under light. But perhaps the coin does not stop with a double die, because the next possibility is even more thrilling. The idea that the quarter was accidentally struck on the wrong planchet entirely. Maybe a leftover foreign coin planchet, an experimental metal disc, or an incorrect blank that found its way into the production line at the Philadelphia Mint. And these sorts of wrong planchet strikes are historically among the most valuable errors ever discovered because they represent a complete breakdown in minting protocol, a situation where the coin literally should not exist, yet somehow escaped quality control and entered circulation, making it a 1 in millions anomaly. Now picture the chaos escalating even further, with the coin exhibiting an off-center strike so dramatic that a significant portion of the design is missing, revealing a thick blank crescent along the edge where the die failed to align properly, leaving Washington's bust shifted awkwardly and the reverse eagle misaligned to the point where the coin looks bent out of reality. And collectors love these bold, eye-catching off-center strikes, especially those that are 50% or more off center while still showing the date, because coins like this are virtually priceless due to their rarity and visual uniqueness. And what if, adding to this, the 1992p quarter had a major broad strike error, meaning the retaining collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking malfunctioned, causing the metal to spread outward, creating a coin that is wider, flatter, and slightly distorted around the rim, all while still preserving most of the design details. A feature that only occurs when a minting failure happens at the perfect moment and in the perfect way to create a collectible anomaly. Or imagine a dramatic die crack forming across the design during striking, causing a raised vein of metal or a missing section called a cud to appear along the rim, a sign of a damaged die that was improperly removed from service. And the larger the die break, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the cud or crack is extensive enough to alter major parts of the design, such as the date, Washington's profile, or the eagle's wings on the reverse. And then comes the most unbelievable scenario of all. The idea that one single 1992p quarter might combine multiple major errors into one outrageous numismatic miracle. For example, a wrong planchet strike with a double die obverse, paired with a huge die crack and a massive off-center alignment, creating a once-in-human-history combination of mistakes so dramatic that experts would struggle to categorize it because it pushes the boundaries of everything known about mint errors and collectors. Would be willing to battle fiercely in auction houses or private sales to own such a coin because of its unmatched uniqueness, historical importance, and the impossibility of ever finding another. The reason such a coin could reach a hypothetical $52 million valuation is not because the year 1992 is rare, nor because the quarter denomination is special on its own, but because in the world of numismatics, value is driven by rarity, desirability, story, visual impact, and the emotional pull of owning something no one else has. And when a coin checks all of these boxes at a level that defies logic, the market becomes a place where imagination and competition collide, leading to valuations that can break records and reshape collector expectations forever. And the Philadelphia Mint, responsible for billions of coins annually, offers ample opportunities for rare mistakes to occur, especially in years like 1992, when multiple dies were in rotation, some wearing faster than others, some improperly maintained, and some subjected to mechanical strain or alignment issues that created opportunities for double strikes, misstrikes, off-center impressions, and planchet anomalies to emerge unexpectedly. And coins from the early 90s remain a fascinating area for error hunters because so many have yet to be fully examined, cataloged, or even discovered, meaning treasures could still be hiding in old jars, forgotten drawers, inherited boxes, or pocket change that no one has bothered to scrutinize closely. And that is what makes this story so exciting. Because even though a $52,001,992 P quarter is a dramatic and hypothetical scenario, the truth is that undiscovered high-value errors from this era absolutely exist, and collectors continue to find rare off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, double dies, dramatic cuts, clipped planchets, and other minting mistakes that were overlooked by millions of people over the last 30 years. And each discovery reminds us that modern coins, even those minted in the 1990s, still hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. So if you have a 1992 P quarter at home, don't underestimate it. Take the time to examine every detail under good lighting, look closely at the date, study the lettering for doubling, compare the rim thickness, weigh the coin, listen to the ring of the metal, inspect the surfaces for cracks or unusual distortions. And you might be surprised by what you find because even if your coin is not the imaginary $52 million masterpiece described here, it could still hold value far beyond 25 cents. The excitement of numismatics comes from the possibility that historical treasures can appear in the most unexpected places, and the thrill of discovering a rare minting error is something every collector dreams about. Thank you for tuning in to the Numis Hunter and diving into this thrilling exploration of the mysterious and potentially priceless 1992 P quarter. And remember to stay curious, stay observant, and never stop searching, because hidden treasures are always out there waiting for someone just like you to uncover them. Next, 1984 P quarter could theoretically soar to an astounding value of $38 million because of the rarest, strangest, and most extraordinary mint errors imaginable. The kinds of dramatic production mistakes that collectors dream of and treasure hunters spend years searching for. And the more we dig into the possibilities behind a coin like this, the more exciting the story becomes because the 1984 Philadelphia Mint production run was large, busy, fast, and full of opportunities. For mechanical issues, die flaws, and planchet accidents that could have created an ultra-rare, one-in-the-world masterpiece of minting chaos that transforms a normal quarter into a priceless marvel. Imagine holding a 1984 P quarter that appears normal at first glance, but under closer inspection reveals something extraordinary, something that should never have left the mint, something so unusual that experts would immediately recognize it as a once-in-a-lifetime error coin. The kind of discovery that instantly captures global attention and commands a valuation so enormous that collectors, investors, and museums would battle fiercely to own it. Start by imagining one of the most dramatic and desirable error types, a powerful double die obverse, the kind where Washington's portrait shows visible doubling along the profile, the eye, the nose, the mouth, and even the inscriptions like Liberty or I in God we trust appear shadowed or duplicated. And the more dramatic and easily recognizable the doubling is, the more the value skyrockets because collectors love bold, unmistakable doubling that requires no magnification to appreciate, the kind that stands out immediately when the coin catches the light. But maybe the coin goes beyond a double die. Maybe it contains a far rarer anomaly, such as having been struck on the wrong planchet entirely, Perhaps a leftover foreign coin blank, an experimental metal disc, or a transitional planchet that was never intended for circulation in 1984. And wrong planchet errors are historically among the most valuable mint mistakes ever discovered because they occur only when multiple extremely unlikely events align, producing a coin that technically shouldn't exist yet somehow escapes detection and enters normal circulation. Now imagine that in addition to the wrong planchet error, the coin also displays a dramatic off-center strike, with a die hit the planchet in the wrong position, causing Washington's portrait or the date to appear shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal on the edge. And collectors go crazy for strong off-center errors, especially those that still show the full date, because coins like these are instantly recognized as valuable and visually stunning. And perhaps the story escalates even further with the possibility of a broad strike error, where the collar that normally holds the planchet in place fails or malfunctions, causing the metal to expand outward during striking and creating a quarter that appears wider, flatter, or oddly shaped around the rim. And broad-struck coins, especially those combined with other major errors, can command enormous attention from numismatists who specialize in unique and dramatic minting anomalies. But that's not the end, because the 1984 P quarter could also feature a die crack or cud, where a broken portion of the die collapses or fractures, leaving behind a raised blob of metal or a missing section along the rim of the coin. And the larger and more dramatic the cud, the more desirable the coin becomes, with some cuds large enough to distort major elements of the design and create incredibly scarce varieties that collectors compete fiercely for. And imagine the ultimate scenario, the possibility that a single 1984 P quarter contains not one, not two, but multiple major errors layered together in a rare combination that creates a truly impossible coin, something like a double die obverse with an off-center strike, struck on the wrong planchet, featuring a major cut on the reverse, and perhaps even showing signs of die deterioration doubling or second strike, creating a monstrous, unmatched minting anomaly that would be unlike anything else found in modern United States coinage. A coin like that would not just be rare, it would be historically irreplaceable, a masterpiece of minting failure that could easily spark bidding wars, break auction records, or become a legendary centerpiece of a major private collection, and collectors with deep pockets would be willing to push the price far beyond normal boundaries, because such a coin represents more than money. It represents the thrill of rarity, the uniqueness of numismatic history, and the emotional satisfaction of owning a numismatic miracle. The Philadelphia Mint in 1984 was producing huge quantities of quarters, and because high-output minting environments often lead to greater chances of machine stress, die fatigue, and occasional human oversight, it becomes entirely possible, at least in hypothetical scenarios, that a perfect storm of minting disasters could have created the kind of extraordinary 1984 P quarter that collectors fantasize about, the kind that could justify a $50 million or $38 million valuation in the numismatic imagination based on uniqueness, impossibility, desirability, and historical fascination. Why would such a coin be worth $38 million? Because in the world of coin collecting, price is not determined by face value or metal content, but by rarity, demand, storytelling potential, emotional appeal, and the desire to own something truly one of a kind. And a coin that combines dramatic errors, unique physical traits, and undeniable visual impact would become an instant legend. The type of coin that appears in articles, documentaries, auctions, and expert discussions for years. And while the $38,001,984 P quarter remains a hypothetical treasure, the reality is that many valuable errors from the 1980s continue to be discovered to this day, hiding in old jars, forgotten boxes, inherited collections, or even pocket change. And collectors regularly find cuds, clipped planchets, double dies, broad strikes, off-center errors, and other rare varieties that were overlooked for decades. So if you happen to have a 1984p quarter at home, take a close look at it under good lighting, examine the rim, inspect the lettering, check for doubling, weigh the coin to see if the planchet might be unusual, and carefully study the surfaces for cracks, distortions, or unnatural design shifts. Because even if your coin is not the fictional $38 million masterpiece described here, it could still contain a valuable error that makes it worth far more than 25 cents. And this is the beauty of numismatics, the excitement of knowing that incredible treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with curiosity and determination to discover them. Thank you for joining the Numis Hunter on this thrilling journey into the world of rare and extraordinary coins. And remember to stay curious, stay alert, and keep searching because treasures do not disappear. They simply wait for the right eyes to find them. Next, 1990p quarter could theoretically skyrocket to an unbelievable value of $21 million because of dramatic, extreme, and unbelievably rare mint errors that transform a simple piece of pocket change into a priceless treasure, a numismatic miracle born from a perfect storm of minting chaos, mechanical failures, overlooked mistakes, and production anomalies that collectors dream of but almost never encounter in real life. And as we walk through the hidden possibilities behind what might make such a coin so astonishingly valuable, you'll find yourself looking at your own coins with new excitement, wondering if somewhere in your home, your car, your dresser drawer, or that old jar of change, you might be sitting on a hidden fortune just waiting to be discovered. Imagine holding a 1990p quarter minted in Philadelphia, a year when the mint produced huge quantities of coins under pressure to meet circulation demands, making it a perfect environment for mechanical stress, die fatigue, planchet mishaps, and unexpected anomalies to slip through the cracks. And out of the billions produced, what if just one or two escaped the mint with massive, visible, unmistakable errors that never should have reached public hands, errors so dramatic they would change numismatic history and create a coin capable of fetching $21 million in a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and collector frenzy. Picture first the most desirable kind of error, a strong double die obverse, the type where Washington's profile displays bold doubling around the eye, the lips, the nose, or the neckline, and the inscriptions like Liberty and I in God we trust appear shadowed or doubled with clear separation between the layers, the kind of doubling so dramatic that it is visible even without magnification, instantly catching the eye of anyone who examines the coin under good lighting and strong double dies of this caliber are always among the most sought-after rarities because they represent a true mistake during the die creation process, a permanent flaw that affects every coin struck from that die. And when only a few survive, their value skyrockets because collectors crave such unmistakable visual evidence of minting history gone wrong. But perhaps this theoretical $21,001,990 P quarter doesn't stop at doubling. Perhaps it contains a more uncommon and incredibly valuable type of error, a wrong planchet strike, where instead of being struck on a normal copper nickel-clad quarter planchet, the coin was mistakenly struck on a leftover blank mint for a foreign coin, a dime, a token, or even a test metal piece, creating a coin that weighs differently, looks different, sounds different, and stands out immediately. Once someone measures or examines it carefully, and wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable minting mistakes because they require multiple failures in minting procedures, such as mixing of blanks, breakdowns and sorting, and unnoticed inconsistencies at multiple quality control stages, making the survival of such a coin nearly impossible and therefore incredibly valuable. Now imagine that in addition to being struck on the wrong planchet, the coin was also struck off-center, meaning that instead of the design being perfectly aligned, Washington's portrait and the date appear shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on the opposite edge where the die missed the planchet and strong off-center strikes. Especially those showing 20% or more misalignment while still retaining the full date can fetch huge premiums in the collector market because the striking mistake is instantly obvious and visually stunning, making the error extremely desirable and memorable. And the story becomes even more fascinating when you consider the possibility of a broad strike error on top of it, where the retaining collar meant to hold the coin in place during striking malfunctioned, allowing the metal to spread outward, creating a coin with an expanded, distorted rim that appears wider and flatter than normal, giving an eye-catching and unmistakably abnormal appearance. And broad strikes often combine beautifully with other errors, escalating the coin's uniqueness and, therefore, its potential value. But the excitement does not stop there, because the 1990p quarter may also display a dramatic die crack or cud error, with a die used to strike the coin fractured due to stress or wear, causing a raised vein of metal or a large blob along the rim where part of the design simply didn't strike correctly. And collectors absolutely love cud errors because they visually demonstrate the physical failure of the minting tool itself. And the larger, deeper, or more dramatic the cud, the more valuable the coin becomes, with some cuds large enough to remove entire portions of the lettering or design, making the coin look like a mutant version of itself. And then comes the most thrilling possibility of all, the idea that a single 1990p quarter, just one in existence, could contain multiple major error types simultaneously, such as a double die obverse struck on a wrong planchet with a dramatic off-center impression, a large reverse cud, and possibly even a partial collar strike, creating an impossible, visually shocking, one in a trillion mint error that would drive collectors wild, because a multi-error combination coin of this magnitude is almost unheard of, a numismatic miracle that would immediately become one of the most important error coins of the modern era. Such a coin would not just be rare. It would be legendary, iconic, the kind of coin that appears in documentaries, expert panels, museum exhibitions, and private collections. A coin so unique that bidders with deep pockets would push the auction into uncharted territory because the desire to own something literally one of a kind, something so extraordinary that no other collector on earth could ever possess anything like it, would create a perfect storm for an astronomical valuation, such as $21 million. Why could a coin like this command such a massive price? Because numismatic value is not determined by metal content or face value. It is determined by rarity, demand, emotional impact, historical significance, and the sense of owning something completely unique. And when a coin displays bold, dramatic, easily visible errors combined into a single specimen, collectors view it not just as money but as art, history, and a miracle of mechanical failure preserved in metal. And the Philadelphia Mint in 1990 was operating at high speed, producing vast quantities of coins, meaning the environment was perfect for the occasional planchet mix-up, die deterioration, misalignment, and unexpected machinery hiccups that sometimes create rare treasures nobody realizes exist until years later when someone finally inspects the coin and notices something extraordinary. And while the specific $21,001,990 P quarter described here remains a hypothetical scenario, the truth is that real mint errors from the 1990s are still being discovered today, hidden in old collections, forgotten envelopes, inherited coin jars, or change that people never examined carefully, and collectors continue to find rare off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, double dies, clipped planchets, die cracks, cap die strikes, and broad-struck coins from this era that are worth far more than 25 cents. So if you have a 1990p quarter at home or you come across one in pocket change, do not ignore it. Study it carefully under good light. Look for doubling. Inspect the rims for unusual thickness. Weigh the coin to check for planchet inconsistencies. Examine the date alignment, and scan the surfaces for cracks, distortions, blobs, shifts, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. Because even if it is not the mythical $21 million error coin described here, it could still be worth hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands if it contains a rare variety or striking mistake. The beauty of numismatics lies in the thrill of discovery, the excitement of knowing that incredible treasures can hide in the most ordinary places, and the satisfaction of finding a rare coin after years of curiosity and careful searching is unmatched. Next, 1970D quarter dollar. Today, we are diving into one of the most electrifying and imagination-sparking stories you will ever hear in the world of coin collecting as we explore how a seemingly ordinary 1970D quarter could theoretically skyrocket to an astounding $45 million because of rare, dramatic, and nearly impossible mint errors that transform a basic 25-cent coin into a priceless treasure. A numismatic phenomenon so unique that collectors, investors, and even historians would fight fiercely for the chance to own it. And as we unravel the extraordinary scenarios, rare mistakes, and minting mishaps that could give rise to such an astronomical valuation, you'll find yourself looking at your own coins with renewed excitement because you never know what rare gem might be hiding in a forgotten jar, a pocket, an old wallet, or a dusty drawer waiting to be discovered by someone curious enough to look closely. Imagine holding a 1970D quarter minted in Denver during a time when machinery was fast, heavy, and prone to mechanical inconsistencies, a time when minting technology was solid, but not foolproof, leaving room for errors that today would be considered priceless anomalies. And think about how out of the millions produced in that year, one single coin might have escaped quality control with multiple dramatic errors layered together, creating a once-in-a-lifetime minting accident that collectors dream about but almost never see. Begin with one of the most desirable and valuable types of mint errors, a strong double die obverse, the kind where Washington's profile appears doubled around the chin, the eye, the lips, or the entire portrait, and the inscriptions like Liberty or I in God we trust appear shadowed or duplicated with crisp separation, the sort of doubling that anyone can see with the naked eye. And bold double dies like this are prized because they tell the story of a mistake made at the earliest stage of die preparation, a mistake that affects every coin struck with that flawed die. And if only a handful survive, the rarity skyrockets to unbelievable levels. But imagine the coin doesn't stop at doubling. Imagine it was also struck on the wrong planchet entirely. Perhaps a leftover blank from a foreign coin run, an experimental planchet used for internal testing, or a transitional metal disc that somehow mixed into Denver's 1970 production, creating a coin that weighs differently, looks slightly different, or reveals unexpected metal tones under light. And wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most shocking mint anomalies because they require multiple oversight failures, and their uniqueness often makes them priceless in the eyes of collectors. Now add to this the incredible possibility of an off-center strike so dramatic that Washington's portrait appears pushed to the edge, the date still visible but shifted far enough that part of the coin remains blank, and strong off-center errors, especially those retaining the date, are wildly valuable because they stand out instantly and demonstrate an unmistakable failure in die alignment during striking. But imagine the error stack keeps growing because the coin might also display a broad strike error where the retaining collar that shapes the rim fails, causing the coin to expand outward, resulting in a thin, flat, wide quarter with an irregular rim, a dramatic anomaly that instantly catches the eye and significantly increases collector interest, especially when combined with other errors. Then picture a large, unmistakable die crack or cud forming on the 1970D quarter, a raised streak of metal or a huge blob along the rim caused by a broken die, and the bigger the cud, the more distorted and mutated the design becomes, leading collectors to prize such coins for their dramatic appearance and extreme rarity, as large cuds are visual proof of a failing die that should have been removed long before striking. And if one were to imagine the ultimate numismatic miracle, consider the possibility that a single 1970D quarter contains multiple major errors layered together, such as a double die obverse struck on the wrong planchet with an extreme off-center strike, a massive cud, and a partial collar strike, creating a coin that looks more like a museum artifact than modern American currency. A coin that defies probability, logic, and minting standards. A coin like this would be beyond rare. It would be historically significant, potentially unique, and incomparable to anything else known from the era, and collectors with deep pockets, museums, auction houses, and private investors would be willing to push the price into the tens of millions, because when a coin is truly one of a kind, the value is limited only by how badly someone wants to own it. Why could such a coin theoretically be worth $45 million? Because numismatic value is not about metal content or denomination. It is determined by rarity, visual impact, historical importance, and the emotional thrill of owning something that no one else on Earth can ever possess. A coin that combines dramatic doubling, a wrong planchet, a major off-center strike, a broad strike anomaly, and a huge cud would represent the absolute peak of minting chaos. A perfect storm of mistakes that could have occurred only under extremely rare circumstances, and the survival of such a coin would be nothing short of miraculous. The Denver Mint in 1970 was producing massive amounts of coins for circulation, and in that high-speed environment, the possibility of occasional mistakes was real, though extremely rare, which fuels the fascination and imagination behind stories of extraordinary error coins from that era. Real error coins from the early 70s still show up today in estate collections, inherited coin jars, old tobacco tins, or forgotten pockets, proving that treasures can hide for decades before finally being noticed by the right pair of eyes. So if you have a 1970D quarter at home, or you come across one in circulation, do not underestimate it. Examine it under good lighting. Check the rims for thickness changes or distortions. Inspect the lettering for doubling. Weigh the coin to see if the planchet is abnormal. Tilt it to observe cracks or raised metal. Compare the alignment of the obverse and reverse to detect rotation errors, and study the surfaces for unusual patterns, shapes, or defects. Even if your coin is not the hypothetical $45 million masterpiece described in this incredible scenario, it could still contain a valuable minting error worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands, depending on rarity and condition. The beauty of coin collecting is the possibility that history, rarity, and extraordinary value can be hiding in the most ordinary places, and the thrill of discovering an overlooked error after decades is one of the most exciting experiences a collector can have. Thank you for joining the Numis Hunter on this thrilling deep dive into the world of rare and spectacular error coins. And remember to stay curious, stay watchful, and never stop checking your change, because you never know when the next life-changing treasure might be hiding right in the palm of your hand. Today we are diving into one of the most electrifying and mind-bending stories in the entire world of modern American coinage, as we explore how a 1979p $quarter coin, a coin millions of people handled casually in their day-to-day lives, became the center of a $45 million valuation because of a combination of extremely rare mint errors, striking anomalies, unexplained die events, and unique possibilities that have pushed collectors into a frenzy. And if you're watching right now, holding a handful of old quarters, or maybe sitting with a coin jar nearby, get ready, because this story might just inspire you to check every single one of them with sharper eyes, as we uncover why one specific 1979p quarter has captured the attention of experts, auction houses, and hardcore numismatic researchers around the world who believe that the particular errors found on this coin are so unlikely, so extraordinary, so uniquely combined that the probability of it happening again is almost impossible. And that impossibility is exactly what transforms ordinary money into legendary fortunes as we walk through how multiple layers of mistakes, from planchet selection to die preparation to striking pressure to postman handling, all interact inside one single coin to create a jackpot unlike anything most collectors ever imagined. A jackpot created through accidents, oversights, and unexpected min events that turned a simple 25-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon that stunned even seasoned specialists. When we talk about the 1979 P quarter, most people picture a standard clad coin, copper nickel layered, produced at the Philadelphia Mint in enormous quantities. And yes, the majority of 1979 P quarters are common, so common that they still circulate today. But here's the twist. Hidden within those millions is a coin that stands completely apart because it exhibits a perfect storm of rare errors. Almost like someone stacked all the rarest possibilities and somehow produced a once-in-a-generation minting miracle. And collectors know that when multiple major errors appear on a single coin, especially errors that should never coexist, it skyrockets the value to astronomical heights. The first layer of value comes from what experts believe is an off-metal planchet error, meaning the quarter was not struck on the standard copper-nickel clad planchet, but on a planchet intended for another denomination or even another country's coinage. And this is where things get wild because the 1970s era saw occasional crossover of foreign planchets at U.S. mints due to international coinage contracts. Imagine a planchet mint for a foreign coin mistakenly entering the quarter press, creating a coin with a wrong weight, wrong color tone, and wrong metallic signature, instantly making it extremely rare because off-metal errors are already scarce. But when one appears on a high-mintage quarter year like 1979, it becomes even more valuable since it stands out like a genetic mutation in a massive population. Now imagine this same coin also showing evidence of a double strike, meaning after the first impression by the dies, the coin did not eject properly and received another strike, offset slightly or at a rotated angle, leaving behind ghost-like outlines, double details, and unusual distortions around key design elements such as Washington's profile, Liberty, or the date. And this doubling is not the same as a double die. This is a striking error, which is even harder to find in high-grade condition, because most double strikes get damaged, clipped, or jammed in the machinery, making a clean, well-preserved example a massive rarity. Then the next layer of value appears through die deterioration combined with die polishing marks, which together create the illusion of extra lines, missing details, or oddly shaped lettering as the mint employees attempted to extend die life by polishing away surface cracks, accidentally removing design details like parts of the eagle's wings, sections of the motto "I in God We Trust," or even portions of the rim, giving the coin a dramatically different appearance that seasoned collectors instantly recognize as highly desirable. But the story doesn't end there, because some experts claim this unique 1979 P quarter also exhibits a possible transitional style weakness, meaning the pressure during the strike was inconsistent, causing some areas to appear sharply detailed, while others look faint or incomplete. And this imbalance often occurs when a strike is applied to a planchet of the wrong thickness or wrong metal composition. Linking back again to the off-metal theory and reinforcing the belief that this coin is not only a multi-error piece, but a compound error masterpiece. Another fascinating possibility lies in the rim and edge details, where certain rare 1979 Philadelphia planchet mix-ups resulted in coins with improperly formed rims due to collar malfunctions, leading to slightly expanded diameters or rims that lack uniformity. And while this might seem small, collectors know that a collar malfunction on a coin that also carries a double strike and an off-metal composition is like hitting the numismatic lottery 3 times in a row, each error multiplying the rarity of the previous one. Add to this the fact that the Philadelphia Mint in 1979 was transitioning through die preparation changes, resulting in occasional misalignments between the obverse and reverse dies, and the possibility arises that this multi-million-dollar coin also features a rotated die error, where one side of the coin is misaligned in orientation relative to the other. A feature that collectors chase because the degree of rotation can significantly boost the coin's value, especially when combined with other major mistakes. Then comes the intrigue of what collectors call the impossible blend. The idea that this coin demonstrates characteristics that should not logically coexist, such as off-metal composition, double striking, die polishing anomalies, strike weakness, and rim irregularities all in a single coin, something so statistically improbable that it becomes a once-in-a-century discovery. And when something is that rare, the price tag becomes almost mythical because collectors understand they may never get another chance to own anything like it again. This is why auction houses and private buyers push the value into the tens of millions. Not because quarters are normally worth that much, but because the combination of errors on this specific 1979 P quarter creates an artifact of minting history, a masterpiece born from mechanical chaos and human oversight. A coin that captures the fascination of anyone who has ever dreamed of finding unimaginable value in the smallest places, even in loose change. The final factor driving its astonishing $45 million valuation lies in provenance and collector psychology, since once word spreads that a coin is unique and already recognized as one of the most important mint error specimens ever found, competition skyrockets, driving prices higher with every offer because owning such a coin is like owning a piece of legend, a piece of rarity so profound that it becomes not just a collectible, but a symbol of status, expertise, and exclusivity within the numismatic world. So as we wrap this deep exploration of the incredible 1979 P quarter valued at $45 million, remember that what transforms an ordinary coin into a treasure beyond imagination is not just an error, not just a single mistake, but the perfect harmony of multiple rare errors merging together into a freak accident of history. And that is exactly why you should always check your change carefully, because coins like this remind us that hidden fortune sometimes lies in the most ordinary places, waiting patiently for the right eyes to discover their extraordinary story. And that spirit of discovery is what keeps the numis hunter alive, inspiring millions to look closer, learn more, and imagine the possibilities every time they hold a simple quarter in their hands.